Mike was obsessed with being seen as cool and thought he could impress me with his knife skills. Oh, he studied the blade all right.
Once you were out chasing girls, I studied the blade.
Hello friends, trace amounts of science. We're back in it today with some r/Neckbeard stories. This one has a wholesome ending, which kind of made me go blah, but then I thought about it and I was like, eh? And then I asked Gubbins and he was like, hell yeah, let's do it, bro. So that's exactly what we're going to do right now. I hope that you will enjoy it. Thanks so much for being here, friends. And yes, let's get on into it. A Neckbeard story with a wholesome ending. I felt inspired to write my own Neckbeard story because I've been listening to Vincey on YouTube reading these. I mean, Vincey is a choice you can make. He's a nice fella, that's what I'll say. Personally, I don't think his videos are for me because I get a little bit driven nuts by the upward inflection at the end of every sentence, but I don't know, some people don't like my laugh, so to each their own. I highly recommend his channel. I enjoy his positive attitude a lot. Smiley face. I mean, you do need that when you're wading through cringe. I grant my permission to any YouTubers to use this story in their video if they wish. Names abbreviated for anonymity. Oh, I'm any YouTubers? Well, okay, I'm gonna do exactly that. A slight content warning for animal dissection and my bad grammar. I don't speak English as a first language and I am drunk stit the moment of writing this. Oh, well, that's gonna help a lot. I always like it when I'm given an excuse for bad writing right up in the front. That's helpful. Now for some context. I grew up in a small town and had known this Neckbeard since like daycare age. I was and still am a bit of a nerdy girl and very femme-presenting most of the time. I also am what you would consider alternative in my fashion sense, which apparently is Neckbeard bait. Lol. This took place when I was 16 and he was 17, but we were in the same grade because he was held back a year. I'm not sure if he could even be called a neckbeard, more like a neckbeardling. Ha ha ha. Yeah, I mean, you grant a lot of leeway. Those are really weird ages, you know, the hormones start hitting different and, yeah, some people spin out of control a little bit. Hope he gets back on track. It does have a wholesome ending after all. Anyway, OP says I sorta knew our Neckbeard pretty well. I did competitive swimming and he did diving, so we ran into each other a lot. We were in different classes, but we both took elective art and elective biology, so we had a lot of classes together, and of course we had a lot of common interests such as anime and nerdy stuff. In appearance, he wasn't too bad. He had severe acne, which I didn't mind because I also had it. He was pale and wore worn-down jeans and a black hoodie, usually sporting an anime t-shirt underneath. He was tall and spindly looking, with a greasy mop of brown curly hair crowning his head. He didn't smell bad, just overwhelmingly like a men's spray-on deodorant. He had an awkward voice, and you could tell that he was going through puberty by all the squeaking and voice cracking.
Hey, you guys feel like playing some baseball? Excuse me, I'm gonna go masturbate.
Doesn't seem too bad so far. Some people got some shit to deal with, I get it. OP says I had one friend, let's call her B, in the elective biology class with me, and we did a lot of pair and group assignments, anything from dissections to working outside, surveying people, or traffic. I would always pair up with B, but a lot of the time, despite having his own friends in the same elective, our Neckbeard M would choose to butt into our pair assignments. I'll call B Brenda and M is Mike, okay? I hate the initial shit. So Brenda was, and still is, a very polite and kind girl, sometimes to a fault, but it is one of the qualities that I really admire about her. I, on the other hand, was a bit more hot-tempered and more assertive. Our dynamic worked really well for us. I would protect her from bullies and stand up for us both, and she would help me with the schoolwork and the socializing. We were both top of our class, but I wasn't as well behaved, and it reflected in my grades as well. I'm still friends with her, despite us living in different cities now. Bro, you're totally fucking looting. Like, we're way off in the weeds. Maybe it's all gonna come together. I hope so. Due to Brenda's kindness toward Mike, He was allowed to work with us most of the time. I didn't say anything because I wanted her to be happy, and I knew that she hated confrontation. One of these times we were paired up with him, we had to dissect the foot of a moose. Where'd you find that?
Mom, come outside, there's a fucking moose! This is some National Geographic shit.
Brenda didn't want any part of it, so we agreed to let her just sit and watch, as Mike and I did all the dissection. Mike was obsessed with being seen as cool and thought he could impress me with his knife skills. Oh, he studied the blade all right.
Whilst you were out doing drugs, I studied the blade.
We had to skin the foot first before we could get to the joint and tendons, so he volunteered to do it despite never even filleting a fish before. I sat back and watched with a sinking feeling in my stomach. I just knew that something was going to go wrong. And it did. Mike cut the fur of the skin open and started removing it from the foot, except he was skinning it by cutting toward himself with the scalpel instead of away from himself. I tried to tell him that he's doing it wrong, but in his attempt to impress us, he refused to listen. The scalpel slipped and ended up giving him a small cut on his chest around the ribs. He was bleeding and had to go visit the ER to get on antibiotics, despite the injury being very minor. The feet of the moose were sourced by one of my classmates who hunted a lot from a hick town, so we couldn't be sure if the animals had diseases or not. Me and Brenda finished the job, and it was actually really interesting, and I feel like I learned a lot. Yeah, like, that's what the inside of a moose's foot looks like. Wow. Good thing they got 4 of them, enough for the whole class. In another biology class, we were sent out to monitor traffic. We had to find a spot and count all the different methods of transportation people were using and make a diagram out of it. Me and Brenda were leaving, and I noticed Mike lingering around us, and as we were leaving the classroom, he just tagged along with us, and we were sort of forced to take him because every other group had left already. It was around May, so the weather was nice and warm, and we stopped by the store to get some snacks for our expedition. At the store, Mike insisted on buying the hot ladies something to cool them down, and he bought us popsicles. Me and Brenda grimaced at each other, but we did accept our free popsicles. Was he staring at you while you ate them? That's just a guess. We laughed at him so hard after the class that day and still quote that line to each other 4 years down the road. It is pretty cheesy. We got to our stakeout spot on the edge of town square and things were pretty uneventful, except him staring at us while we ate our popsicles. See, dude, I knew it.
I can almost taste it.
It's all part of his grand plan. I remember I made sure to bite mine as brutally as I could without getting brain freeze. We spent about an hour and a half there, and as we were walking back to school, we got to talking about how me and him used to go to the same daycare and the same preschool, and he awkwardly told us that he used to have a crush on me when we were in preschool, and also when we were in grade school. Yeah, and also right now. OP says I just laughed it off and told him I just remembered playing with him as kids and having fun. It was awkward, but I didn't want to open the door to a possible confession, so I tried to change the topic as fast as possible. I gotta be honest with you, this story's like a whole lot of fucking nothing. It's OP going, look how cool I am, I'm alternative. A man stabbed himself with a scalpel trying to impress me. He also bought me a popsicle. Like, he's sort of being weird and creepy, but also he's 16 years old and probably trying his best. No, it doesn't come as easily to some. I just don't like to see OP up there on her fucking high horse. Let me knock her down a peg or two. All right.
Watch out. His name is John C.
We're good, right? We're moving on. The worst encounter I had with him was when my at the time best friend Shannon somehow had a crush on him. Me and her were really into Vampire Diaries and Twilight at the time, so I'm choosing to blame it all on that. Oh yeah, personal responsibility is not even a factor in this equation. I tried to wing-woman her in my naivete because I knew him better. Shannon and Mike didn't have any classes together. I got his number from one of the classmates and texted him one night that I'd like to arrange a meeting with him to discuss one of my friends. Now, thinking back, this is incredibly creepy behavior for me, but I was 16 and had never dated anybody. Oh, so you get a pass, but he doesn't. He's a gross neckbeard for trying to figure it out.
Okay. Are you kidding? That's unfair. She made those. I need to calm down. I'm an adult.
From the bottom of my heart, fuck you, Opie. Go watch Vinci, okay? He'll probably tell you your story was good. He's lying to you. It's uninteresting and never goes beyond surface level. But I'll continue. Mike agreed to meet with OP, and in hindsight, I think probably just because he had a crush on me. I told Shannon, he said yes, and she was bouncing off the walls excited, and I was happy I could be helpful, even if I disagreed with her attraction to him. A few days later, the meeting happened. I had mistakenly told some of the other girls in my class about it, and they were lingering nearby, but not close enough to hear us. Yeah, you made the whole thing a spectacle. Oops, what a mistake. They get to be embarrassed by all the girls in class simultaneously. OP's just a wretch. I hate it. I won't truly, dig my claws in and try and incinerate her just because, okay, you're young too. You are all trying to get it figured out. But you see how in your own brain you give yourself a pass for the shitty actions that you take? Try to cut that out, would you? Look at things more objectively, would you? Anyway, at that time, I was sort of popular. Oh my god, I fucking...
Say what?
I'm so done with this story already, dude. I was super popular and cool, and everybody liked me, and my friend was like, I want to date this icky guy, and I was like, no, ew, that's totally gross. By the way, I'm totally alternative, and people just love me. I don't know what it is. Just shut the fuck up, okay? Tell us what the Neckbeard did. I don't need all the accoutrement. Thank you. Everybody has a crush on me. I'm just so hot. Ugh. So yeah, OP was totally sorta popular. Most people in my school knew me by name because I had won a lot of competitions in arts and poetry and sports too. Well, aren't you just a little fucking Mary Sue, huh? Oh, quite literally. I was also the president of the student council and a tutor student. I helped out younger students with getting adjusted in the new school tutoring for free and was a safe older person to report bullying and tell your worries to, etc. Oh my god, is this like your fucking resume or what's going on here? I got into this thinking that I was gonna have a chill one. I wouldn't have to talk too much. We're just gonna run through the story and that would be it. That would be the fucking day, right? But no, you had to make it weird. You had to tell me about every fucking thing since you were 5 years old. I'm not interested. Tell me about something weird that the Neckbeard did aside from buying you popsicles and stabbing himself with a scalpel. I guess stabbing himself with a scalpel is pretty ridiculous. And then she laughs at him for getting on antibiotics. Like, what if he caught moose bumps, okay?
Trying to get a couple of bucks for something to eat.
What's moose stuff?
Whatever you want it to be. I could have with you.
Get in.
You didn't think about that, did you? Only one person who can even cure moose bumps in the whole world, and that's Dr. Octagon. And I think he retired. Most people aren't going to know what the hell I'm talking about, but like old school hip hop heads will. Anyway, shout out Cool Keith. Tell me some more awesome things that you did, OP. That's what we're all here to fucking hear about. I was also known to participate in and organize many fundraising events. I also had a reputation that I was not to be messed with, thanks to my volatile temperament and a few incidents of violence against people who had pissed me off. Yeah, I'm everything all at once. I'm the student council president who also beats people up on the side, too. Every fundraiser the school ever organized, that was me. I did all of that. Thank me that you got fresh new textbooks. But I'm sort of edgy and alternative also, so I drew dongs in all of the textbooks before I gave them to you. OP said, I'm not proud of the violence, and I have since mellowed out a lot. Yeah, it's been a crazy year. With that being said, our meeting happened on a dreadful Monday on a break between classes that lasted 25 minutes. We met up near the main door and chatted inside the vestibule so we couldn't be heard by outsiders. Unfortunately, our conversation kept getting interrupted by a lot of students who wanted to say hi to me. Oh, I'm so popular. I'm here to oversee this matchmaking thing that I've done, and also I have a line of fucking people that I know out the door who just keep interrupting the whole shit. You realize you're making everything worse. No matter how many times you tell me you're cool and people like you, I can tell by your aura that all that's not true. You're telling lies on the internet, and I don't approve. I don't want to say hi to you. I want to say get a fucking grip. Tell me what you came here to tell me or get out! Whew. Okay. Opie says that caused another incident of people thinking that me and Mike were together or friends, which I totally hated. Then get the fuck out. That's my advice for you. Leave this situation because you are only making it worse. You're just here to give Shannon a disapproving look as she talks to the boy that she liked. We don't need you here, okay? Mike, Shannon, me, ReddX narrating the story right now, none of us need you.
Nobody even wants you here.
He was waiting for me there, and I walked up to him, and for some reason, we shook hands. And he asked me what this was about. I explained to him that my best friend has a little crush on him, and showed him a picture of her, and asked him if he would be interested in meeting up with her. Oh, this is not the meeting between the two of them? This is the meeting to arrange the meeting? This is fucking stupid. He agreed pretty quickly, and I gave him her number and Snapchat. I was about to leave, but he kept coming up with topics to discuss. He kept steering the conversation away from my friend and kept trying to talk about me and him and getting to know me better. Yes, who can resist Mary Sue? Like, Veronica wants to date me, but I've always been more of a Betty type of guy, you know? First, he showed me his anime drawings. In the picture, he had his entire wall covered in pictures of anime girls that he drew. And as an art student, I do have to say that he had some talent. I was a bit weirded out by the wall of anime girls, but I couldn't really hate on him because I was wing-womaning, so I had to pretend to like it. Yeah, just like me reading the story that you wrote. I have to pretend to like it. Except I realized a couple years ago that no, I don't.
What have I done?
And now I just lay it down really flat. People get their feeling. If OP ever sees this video, they're going to be very sad at the way I've treated them. But also, fuck it. Build on that and grow, okay? If I just sit here and clap for you, you don't learn anything. Anyway, OP says the next attempt of keeping me there was him showing me his phone case and how we coincidentally had matching ones. I had bought mine from the thrift shop because my family was poor, so I couldn't really choose what to have. We both had the UK flag as our phone case, like it was trendy to have back then. We don't even live in the UK. Lol. You have some sort of British heritage? This is really weird. The third attempt to keep me there was him asking me if we could meet up again sometime, maybe after our practice at the local swimming hall. And I swiftly but politely turned him down because I didn't want my bestie to get the impression that I was going after her crush. And also because I didn't want to see this dude at like 9 p.m. after practice. The break was finally over, and the bell rang, and I was free! I swiftly made my exit and joined the group of girls from my class, telling them all the horrid details of our meetup. Hi girls, yeah, I just had to meet up with some scumbag. He was like trying to form a human connection with me or whatever. Ugh, gross. I'm like, don't you know you have acne? Even though I do too, but I'm super popular, and that's the difference between us. Oh, this is the worst. This is a terrible choice to make. Maybe the YouTube audience enjoys it though, you know? Maybe the comments will tell me different. You need to go dig for more trash, ReddX. Okay, I guess we can. Also, if you didn't know, we're on podcast services everywhere, Spotify, iTunes. You should check us out. And maybe therein will you find the human connection that we all need so desperately. LP says, my bestie wasn't at school that day, but I messaged her that I had arranged a date next Friday at the school gate after school was over. And she was happy, so I was happy, despite the suffering I had just endured. Yeah, he showed me pictures that he drew. He tried to talk about phone cases. What a weirdo! Like, he didn't even really do anything. This OP is just a fucking shrew that thinks she's better than everybody around her. You are insufferable. So, my bestie and Mike met up that Friday. It was so awkward, and I kept an eye out on them because I didn't trust this dude fully. Yeah, third wheeling all the way. I'm surprised you didn't bring the group of girls with you. You could have a great long fucking hen night about all this. He was super late to the meetup, and my bestie was texting me super stressed. I was watching them from like 50 meters away. Kind of creepy, I know. He finally showed up, and I saw them chat and start walking away. Shannon then texted me that they were going to the library and that I didn't have to follow them. You want to bet if OP's going to follow them or not? I'm the main character. I've got to live vicariously through someone else's experience that I disapprove of. The library was a 10-minute walk from the school, so I wasn't worried, and I went home. Oh shit, high five. Sometimes I guess I'm wrong, I don't know. The next day she tells me that he had taken her to the very small manga section in my small town library and given her some recommendations, and then he tried to get her to put it in her mouth in the library bathroom.
Shit. Is you gonna suck my... You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to go crazy. Is you gonna get...
Romance isn't dead. I wasn't expecting much, but he had always been at least somewhat polite and nice to me before, so I was shocked. Shannon obviously said no, and their date ended after that, and there was no second date. Yeah, he pulled that fucking card out way too early, let me tell you that. Public fellatio, that's like third or fourth date material. Or never. Probably never is better. So fast forward to when COVID hit us and we all went into lockdown.
Coronavirus! I'm telling you, shit is real! Shit is getting real!
The plague times. I remember it fondly. My YouTube channel was like zoom zoom. I got a part-time job at the library because my online classes didn't take up too much of my time. My family was seriously struggling with money because it was hard for my mom to find a job as a daycare attendant. My typical day at work was pretty nice and quiet since people were avoiding public spaces. I would spend 8 to 10 stocking the bookshelves with returned books and then stand at the register for an hour or two serving customers. Then I'd usually take my lunch. God, I don't care!
I didn't sign up for this shit.
Where'd the Neckbeard go? Why is it like this? I give less of a shit about your job, alright? Sorry your family's poor. Maybe that wouldn't be the case if they could fucking focus up. Is this genetic? God damn it. Okay, it's fine. Yeah, take your lunch. And then, usually after lunch, I'd host a storytime session and arts and crafts for families with young kids. Yeah, who are also avoiding public spaces, I guess. It was nice work, and it made me feel good to help parents struggling with kids during the lockdown by occupying them for an hour or two. Yes, and spreading transmissible diseases. After that, I would make displays for our promoted books of give book recommendations for teachers. Motherfucker, you can't even write a decent sentence. How are you gonna give any book recommendation? I'm sorry. I'm really at the end of my rope here, but this story's almost over. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna make it. Strap in, everybody! OP says, I got this task because I'm a bit of a bookwork, and bookworm is the term. And I had pretty much read every young adults and teenagers book in the small library, so I knew which ones would be appropriate for kids above or below a certain age. Wow, truly, between being student president and like a young dejected poor kid, where do you find the time to also be an encyclopedia of knowledge for the local library? This is just amazing. You have so many gifts. If only you could learn to apply them anywhere at all, ever. Anyway, one day, guess who wandress into the library where I now work at? Yeah, like we didn't just spend the past fucking paragraph talking about the job and all the things we do there. We could have cut that whole shit and just be like, yeah, the library I work at. Oh, you didn't know I worked at a library? Whatever, I'm so done. I put me out of my misery, okay?
I gotta end this. I'm telling you, this is all I can take. Somebody please put me out of my misery.
Our Neckbeard came by pretty early and saw me restocking the shelves. I hide my annoyance because he's a customer and I'm at work now. A customer of the library. I don't think that's what they call it. He asked me what I'm doing here, and I tell him that I got a job here to help my mom pay the bills and so I could take care of my sister. She used to come into work with me every day because she was too young to stay at home. I'd share my lunch with her, and she would just hang out at the library until my shift ended. Yeah, well, let me tell you some more things that I forgot to tell you in the fucking paragraph that we spent before. Neat. I remember him telling me, "That's awesome, and maybe he'll come by more often since I'm working here now." And he went on a tangent about how lonely he felt because we didn't have school in person. And I told him that I understand how he feels and that getting a job has really helped me with that. I said that I need to get back to stocking the shelves now, and if he doesn't have anything work-related to ask me, then he should get going. He unfortunately didn't get my very straightforward hint to leave me alone and continued to pester me. Again, he's trying to do the human connection thing, but you're doing it while somebody's at work, essentially trapped, and that makes me kind of want to kick him in the ribs a little bit. Or just give him a scalpel, tell him to cut a moose foot open. He'll do himself in. Just stabs himself in the aorta. Okay, problem solved. OP says he walked through the shelves with me and even tried to push the heavy wooden cart that I used to carry books on because, quote, "a pretty lady shouldn't have to do manual labor." I scoffed at him and slapped his hand away from the handle and told him that he isn't allowed to touch the library's property if he doesn't work here. Oh, actually, we'll have this magic thing called a fucking library card so I can take this property home with me. I guess she's talking about the carts, not the books on. Whatever, who cares? Stupid joke, stupid fucking story. I'm so checked out. Just, I'm telling you, dude, that nothing happens. Thank you so much for spending 30 minutes on the story. Nothing fucking happened. Okay, well, you're welcome. I hope we never cross paths again. I'm putting this OP on ignore. Never blocked anybody on Reddit before, but I think this is bad enough. If I get a second part like this, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. Okay. Thankfully, OP says, he did back off, but he kept on walking with me. Doesn't sound like backing off. We somehow got onto the topic of anime and manga, and I started to not mind him as much. The library got kind of creepy when it wasn't busy, and I was alone in the sea of shelves. He gave me some anime recommendations, and I returned the favor. After I sorted out the books, I had to go serve partons behind the desk, and he went to rent his books and left. After that, he started coming to the library more often, and I told my bestie that if she wanted to hang out with him, then she should come to the library, but she declined because she lived an hour away in the woods. In the woods? I got kind of creeped out by how often he was in the library and how he would come find me wherever I was. The library was 2 stories high and such a labyrinth. I just knew he was seeking me out on purpose, but I just went along with it because it was kind of nice to have someone keep me company in the creepy, empty library. So are you fucking, like, in or out? You can't be like, oh, this stupid lost puppy dog boy, but I kind of like hanging around him too. You're an idiot. You don't know who you want to be. Are you the poor alternative edgy kid, or are you the school president that everybody's super popular with and wants to high five you? Is this person trying to make a human connection to Neckbeard? Or do you just feel guilty enough for wanting a human connection with him that you have to go and tell lies about him on Reddit? I hate anime girl things. I still give him a pass. I hate the moose knuckle thing. He stabbed himself. He suffered his punishment. Fucking nothing happened in this story. If you told him straight up not to come to the library anymore, I bet you he wouldn't. But you couldn't even do that. You got no conviction whatsoever. Just, I hate it. I hate it so much. OP says, I have since moved away because I got into my dream school and no longer live in the city where he lives in. Wow, your dream school too. Even though you were so poor? That's amazing. You won the prize! You really are living the dream, aren't you? Because you have to be fucking asleep to believe it. So yeah, OP moved. Once I went to visit my mom and I saw him at the local mall and I almost didn't recognize him. He's now a trans woman and I'm really happy she has found herself. That's the happy ending, huh? Great.
Wow!
Holy shit, man. That tells me literally nothing about the personality. He could be exactly the same person, just in a dress. And we're like, yeah, that's great. God damn it. I have regrets. I should throw this whole episode in the trash, but I don't know. It might be worth a watch to somebody out there. We did have a brief chat, and she seemed pretty nice and pretty too, and told me that she thinks her crush on me was actually gender envy. I chose to use he, him pronouns for her in this story because at the time she was not yet a woman. Yeah, I get that part. I've since got a boyfriend and a partner, and we are in a very happy polyamorous relationship. Yeah, good fucking luck with that, huh? The desperation and attention seeking continues even into the relationships that you've decided to build. I don't want to go to war with polyamorous couples or anything like this, but why do they always look like they smell terrible? Maybe you can answer me that. OP says, I also realized that I'm agender and not a girl, so a happy ending for the both of us. Yeah, again, I really couldn't give less of a shit about any of that. Is this your substitute for a personality these days? I think it is for a lot of people. It's super concerning. But whatever, this is not the place that I'm gonna fight that battle. Sorry this story wasn't super eventful or dramatic. Yeah, or well-written or interesting or consumable. It's just the worst. I think it could be a good example of how people can change and how sometimes unlikable people are still in the process of discovering their true selves. Have a nice day, everyone, and remember to be kind to yourself. What a disaster. What an unmitigated fucking disaster I have just witnessed. And I wish I had no eyes again. I got the one eye and immediately I'm like, I regret this. I regret everything. I don't hesitate to say this, but you are quite possibly the least interesting person in existence. And despite that, there's no self-awareness about it. You're just like, let me tell you all about the day that I had at work. And then I go off to lunch at 12 and my sister was there too. And what do we know about the Neckbeard? You wrote a Neckbeard story and we got like 3 little fucking anecdotes. Nicked himself with a scalpel, tried to make a human connection despite wanting to date your friend. Hung out with you at the library a lot, which you hated or maybe not. And then he decided that he's gonna wear a dress. And that makes everything okay, perhaps. Which maybe it does because he really didn't do anything wrong in the first place. I'm fucking mystified by what we just witnessed today. I hate it. I hate it more than anything. Well, that's not true. There's a lot of bad stuff in the world, but this is terrible too. This is really awful and stinky and horrible. And yeah, again, it probably belongs in the trash.
Gubbins agree. Neckbeard barely even in the story, just a side character in the great epic of Me, Myself, and I. If Gubbins wanted to read a diary entry disguised as a redemption arc, Gubbins would have found a live journal from 2006. Gubbins say next.
Here it is, presented for you lovely people to feast on, and I do hope you enjoyed it. Sign up on the Patreon or the YouTube memberships if you'd be so kind. I'd like that a lot. There's even more rambly videos behind the paywall. We got a fourth wall for merch. We got Amazon affiliate if you like to support that way. You can also share the video around. That's free. That's nice. But most importantly, friends, I just want to remind you that you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it. And I shall see you on the next one, friends. So until then, bye-bye.